Hello, and welcome to Microsoft Ignite. I'm Kathleen Mitford. Over the past few years, you have all played a critical role in navigating your organization through significant change. I'm so encouraged to see companies across industries embracing technology as the path towards business resilience more than ever before. In the past, pressure for cost savings was often at odds with the pressure to grow. Things have changed. Today, it's more common for companies to view cloud technologies as a remedy to this, helping you do more with less. You need to be able to respond quickly, maximize your investments, and save. That requires a comprehensive cloud platform with a broad ecosystem and a technology partner you can trust, like Microsoft. We have the expertise, capabilities, and the platform to free up your time to focus on your core business and what you do best, creating, innovating, and differentiating your company. Let's check out a few real-life stories to see how customers are doing just that.
The Emirates Group is a multinational corporation. The Microsoft Cloud Platform allows us to use technologies like Azure, multi-factor authentication, self-service password reset to allow us to collaborate data amongst our employees and even share data with third parties securely and safely.
Access to data and technology with an F1 team is the lifeblood of how we create performance.
We use Microsoft Cloud to be able to achieve that.
Technology manifests itself everywhere on a race car in Formula One.
Sanofi is a global healthcare company. We provide potentially life-changing treatment and life-saving vaccine protection to millions of people globally. We were able to deliver a fully qualified landing zone in Azure in 1/3 the time and 1/3 the budget compared to previous cloud efforts. The future with Microsoft is incredibly exciting. Digital transformation at Sanofi is driving a more agile business and a faster time to market to manufacture and deliver medicine.
The companies we just heard from, and so many others, are achieving results by turning to Microsoft Cloud as the most trusted and comprehensive cloud. Our capabilities span infrastructure, digital and application innovation, data and AI, security, business applications, and modern work. The Microsoft Cloud helps meet the challenges of a rapidly changing world and thrive in today's environment. Your business can achieve this too. At every layer in the Microsoft Cloud, we deliver best-of-category solutions to help you get the most value out of your investments. For the rest of this session, we'll share how we're investing to make Azure the most trusted, ubiquitous computing platform from cloud to edge for all organizations and all workloads. Azure is the foundation of Microsoft Cloud, and our vision is to be the world's computer. Now, I'd like to welcome Erin Chapple. Erin leads product and design for Azure, delivering solutions enabling you to meet your current challenges and build for the future. Together, we partner deeply to understand your needs. Welcome, Erin.
Thanks, Kathleen. It's nice to be here and connect with the community.
Erin, we both spend a lot of time with customers. What are you hearing from customers? What's top of mind?
Well, you talked earlier, Kathleen, about the need to respond quickly. And I'm amazed at just how quickly customers have both needed to and responded so quickly these last years. Constantly having to adapt and change in response to what's happening locally in their industries and globally. And in many ways, we've experienced the same thing at Microsoft. Our goal with Azure is to meet customers where they are in terms of the cloud, whether hybrid or multi-cloud, cloud native, across that entire spectrum. And Azure is a dynamic platform with constant access to new features and tools that allow IT teams to be more productive and respond with the agility required to succeed. Yet at the same time, as you mentioned, customers are facing ongoing pressure to do more with less. And Azure delivers cost and operational efficiencies through avoiding the need to over-provision infrastructure capacity, to establish hybrid environments, optimizing licensing cost, and taking advantage of new cloud services. Now, the result is that customers can lower costs by 37%. They can increase IT efficiency through automation by 53% and achieve 46% higher productivity for their development teams.
And these savings are made possible through unique offers like our Azure Hybrid Benefit, which allow you to bring certain on-premise licenses to Azure for significant savings. We want to help customers take those savings and reinvest in key areas to keep businesses resilient: security, crisis management, business continuity, and also innovation in things like cloud-native technologies. Let's talk about applications that are critical to business operations. Today, business leaders are thinking about the how of cloud migration and addressing specifics on cost, performance, and resiliency.
Completely. Customers are putting an immense level of trust in Azure and the teams who build, run, and maintain it. And we don't take that responsibility lightly. For example, the National Basketball Association, or NBA, is constantly innovating on the leading edge of technology to improve operations, to promote the game of basketball, and as a fan myself, most importantly, to boost fan engagement. They needed to expand beyond their on-premises IT infrastructure to achieve these goals. And Azure enabled them to build solutions to extract new insights that weren't possible before. Let's take a look.
NBA has always been at the cutting edge of technology. Microsoft invests heavily in their security tooling, which was a very big deal for us in terms of moving our business data into the Azure cloud. The rise with the SAP bundle in Azure takes the operational nightmares away from us.
It enables us access to over 2,000 APIs and integration to not just SAP products, but third-party products. That just makes our options limitless.
Cloud ecosystem has really helped NBA to provide the best possible experience to our fans and satisfy the needs of our teams as well as the game of basketball overall.
Now, we also work closely with partners like SAP, Red Hat, VMware, NetApp, and Oracle to tune our platform so it's ready to modernize your workloads. For example, we have the new Oracle database service for Microsoft Azure to support multi-cloud options. And Azure is SAP certified to run your mission-critical SAP applications with the industry's most performant and scalable SAP cloud infrastructure. We offer 192 gigabyte to 12 terabyte SAP HANA certified virtual machines in more regions than any other public cloud provider. Today, we're expanding on the solution NBA and others use with a new experience that lets people share insights from SAP S/4HANA running on Azure, so you can work together seamlessly across your SAP applications and Microsoft 365.
Erin, I love this new integration between SAP on Azure with other components of Microsoft Cloud that will help employees better collaborate and improve productivity. Beyond applications like SAP, Erin, what else are we doing to help customers to get their business applications to the cloud?
Well, sometimes the fastest path to value is to extend or migrate a consistent environment to the cloud instead of a native virtual machine on Azure.
It's about choice, and we really enable this flexibility so you can choose what works best for your business, extending what you already have or spinning up new VMs on Azure.
We enable this option with VMware, where by moving your existing VMware infrastructure to Azure VMware Service, you can maximize your investments and skill sets on the VMware platform. We're enabling a similar capability with Nutanix Cloud Clusters on Azure, which is now generally available. You can easily extend or migrate workloads to a native Nutanix environment on Azure bare metal hosts. This enables you to save time and money by using your existing Nutanix skills without modification or retooling.
Erin, I am so excited about this new partnership with Nutanix. It's one more example of allowing customers to do more using the cloud without having to learn new skills. Erin, I mentioned earlier, Azure's ambition is to be the world's computer for all organizations and all workloads.
Yes, and our goal is to enable all workloads, no matter their size or scale. And this all starts with Azure's infrastructure, which powers some of the largest workloads in the world, including our own workloads, such as Microsoft Teams, Microsoft 365, Xbox, and more. Now, these workloads require unprecedented volumes of data and computing power, and Azure enables them to scale in a cost-efficient manner.
We know firsthand performance and power efficiency is a significant undertaking, and it's critical to get it right.
That's right. Many of you have workloads requiring high levels of performance to deliver results with rapid response times. Or you have a growing number of cloud-native applications, and you may be considering ARM-based systems to both reduce cost and energy consumption. For example, Amadeus has been tapping into a maturing ARM ecosystem, leveraging seamless integration with Azure services. They've sped up delivery of their new cloud-based solutions, which in turn has led to a more seamless travel experience for customers. Now, Amadeus is planning to use the latest ARM-based VMs to run their cloud workloads at scale. And last month, we introduced new Azure VMs that feature Ampere Ultra ARM-based processors. These VMs are designed to run scale-out Linux workloads to help deliver greater scalability, better price performance, and increased power efficiency, which also helps improve the sustainability of your operations. Now, Ultra is among the fastest ARM Neoverse-based processors available, tested and experienced firsthand by hundreds of you, which operates at the highest frequency of any ARM-based processor for general-purpose computing available today in the cloud. Partners like Elastic, Datadog, and Ansys have already adopted and begun running applications on these new VMs.
Our new ARM-based VM offerings are delivering on new levels of price performance and improving sustainability posture. How about customers who are concerned about the storage operations that can greatly impact the performance of these workloads?
To bring more flexibility and better manage performance and cost, today we're announcing the general availability of Premium SSD v2. With this new Premium SSD offering, you can separately provision disk storage, capacity, IOPS, and throughput based on workload requirements. Another way we're helping customers do more with less.
As a former partner, I love seeing the collaboration between Microsoft partners and customers, finding new ways to modernize infrastructure and run all workloads in the cloud, including business-critical apps and those that need greater flexibility and scale to meet demand for growing databases and to keep up with usage peaks. One requirement for any app continues to be paramount: security. It's critical we help customers feel ready and empowered to get their applications running on Azure.
Security is top of mind for everyone, and we're building capabilities that will keep customer workloads and data estates secure. Microsoft has been providing security leadership for more than 20 years. Our world-class security research and threat intelligence helps protect customers, Microsoft, open source, and industry partners alike.
Azure already provides best-in-class built-in security, but we're also innovating to take that secure capability to the next level with confidential computing.
Yeah, that's right. And Azure has features that encrypt data at rest and in transit, and we continue to innovate with confidential computing to help increase data privacy in the cloud by protecting data while in use. Now, the number of customers and ISVs developing innovative solutions that rely on confidential computing just continues to expand. Now, for example, Novartis Biome's Evidence Lab relied on Beekeeper AI's confidential computing to validate a solution to improve the lives of children with a rare disease. Thanks to Beekeeper's AI's sightless computing environment, Novartis was able to protect the intellectual property of their solution while it computed on a highly specialized set of protected health information, all without ever seeing the data. Now, Azure provides the broadest confidential computing portfolio of any cloud provider, working closely with technology partners like AMD, Intel, and NVIDIA. We're expanding our confidential computing services with new capabilities that are first of their kind. These capabilities let you take advantage of confidential computing in Azure Kubernetes Service, or AKS, Azure Virtual Desktop, and SQL Server with AMD-based confidential VMs. In fact, you can move applications and databases to the cloud without changing code with AMD-based confidential VMs.
Now we'll cover the latest innovations for Azure Data Services that can help your company accelerate innovation and achieve agility. Let's check in with Rohan Kumar, CVP of Azure Data. So Erin and I just finished talking about how customers are accelerating innovation by modernizing their infrastructure with Azure. But you also need a comprehensive, integrated data platform to leverage that infrastructure. Rohan, can you tell us more?
First of all, it's great to be here at Microsoft Ignite 2022, Kathleen. And you're right. It's become very clear that customers struggle to gain value from their data, given the deep fragmentation that exists between databases, analytics, and governance products. You know, in a world where every application is expected to be intelligent and adapt in real time, developers struggle given the silos between databases and analytics systems. Analytics is not just a back-end process anymore. It's a critical part of the product experience. Businesses now expect extreme agility in building data pipelines to make decisions at the speed of thought. Data engineers, data scientists, and business analysts struggle given the complexity of making data integration, data warehousing, big data, MLOps, and BI work together. Meeting data privacy regulations is a critical need for every enterprise. Data and privacy officers struggle with this given governance is not deeply integrated where data lives, making it impossible to meet the regulatory bar. And in today's challenging economic environment, they need to do so in the most cost-effective way possible. The good news is we are delivering a solution, a platform that makes all of this possible. In May, we announced the Microsoft Intelligent Data Platform, deeply integrating our best-in-class databases, analytics, and data governance products for a seamless experience to address these challenges, while also integrating with the broader Microsoft Cloud. Customers do more with less as they add build intelligence into their applications, unlock predictive insights to drive relevant actions, all while ensuring that their data is always governed. Customers have told us that they want the Microsoft Intelligent Data Platform to deeply integrate with the partner products they use. Given that, I'm very excited to announce a new partner ecosystem for the Microsoft Intelligent Data Platform. We are closely working with ISV partners to deliver integrated solutions on top of the Microsoft Intelligent Data Platform.
The partner ecosystem is a fantastic way for customers across all industries to take advantage of Microsoft Intelligent Data Platform capabilities. And this is just the beginning. We'll add more independent software vendor or ISV partners in the coming months.
That's right, Kathleen. And any new innovation or integration we build adds to the end-to-end platform capabilities. This is all made possible through the platform's open and governed foundation. Now let's dive into what we've been working on, starting with the world of operational databases. One thing you always get with Azure operational databases is choice. We have a comprehensive portfolio from our SQL Cloud to Edge databases to Azure Cosmos DB, our fast and scalable distributed database for cloud-native applications, and open source databases in Postgres, MySQL, and MariaDB offerings. Even so, we know developers today struggle when choosing a database because they face a stark choice between the complex querying and consistent transaction processing offered by relational databases and the performance and scale of non-relational databases. I'm thrilled to announce that with Azure Cosmos DB for PostgreSQL, you get the best of both worlds. It blends the scalability of a NoSQL database with a rich SQL programming model and support for Postgres extensions. Nielsen IQ, a global markets insights leader, is already using Azure Cosmos DB for PostgreSQL to power their revenue management SaaS solutions, providing them with the global scale and performance they need to better serve their customers.
This industry-first offering is just another example of our commitment to being an open platform. What are the other ways that we're enabling integration with other products in our intelligent data platform?
When it comes to analytics, three main areas are becoming essential for enterprise analytics: data integration, actionable insights, and data democratization. I'm thrilled to share the general availability of the SAP Change Data Capture Connector in Azure Data Factory. It streamlines the process for customers to bring in their SAP data for advanced analytics in Azure. I'm also pleased to announce Azure Data Factory's new Microsoft Graph Data Connector for Microsoft 365 datasets. It brings your Office data into Azure so you can unlock collaboration and productivity insights. We're also continuing to remove friction from end-user experiences. You can now share your Power BI datasets across tenants through Power BI's B2B data sharing. TD Bank, one of the largest banks in North America, produces petabytes worth of data and must comply with a range of data management and storage regulations. Leveraging the Microsoft Intelligent Data Platform, TD Bank created a flexible, always up-to-date system that provides a tangible competitive advantage. The bank estimates that this saves them at least 70% in yearly costs over their previous solution.
Earlier, Erin and I spoke about the importance of security in Azure. It's top of mind for all of us at Microsoft. We understand security and governance can't be an afterthought. That's why Microsoft Purview, our unified data governance solution, serves as a cornerstone to the Microsoft Intelligent Data Platform.
That's right. Chief data officers tell us operationalizing data governance and key CDO facets of security, compliance, and data management at big data scale is a very complex undertaking. Microsoft Purview integrates our enterprise-proven security and compliance capabilities in Microsoft 365 with a spectrum of data management and governance capabilities. The solution covers hybrid and multi-cloud data estates with built-in integrations for the industry's leading data platforms and data fabrics. I'm excited to announce that business workflows are now generally available in Microsoft Purview, and Business Meta Model is in preview. These new capabilities make it easier to maximize business value of your data and drive cross-functional data governance. We are very excited to see how the latest innovations in data, analytics, and governance will help our customers accelerate innovation and do more with less.
It's exciting to see how the Microsoft Intelligent Data Platform is providing the most consistent experience for companies to innovate anywhere they need to be, across on-premise and edge environments, with SQL Server and Arc data services, and virtually everywhere with Microsoft Purview.
Yes, this reinforces Azure as a single ubiquitous cloud platform that unlocks enterprise value. Azure provides a continuous stream of innovation to enable IT and developers to quickly address business needs without limiting them by location.
That's right. It comes back to our ambition to be the world's computer. Thanks, Rohan. Azure is delivering on this promise by accelerating the way applications are built, deployed, and managed with built-in DevOps, security, identity, and governance capabilities. The Purview capability is a great example of this, letting you achieve data governance no matter where your data resides, in the public cloud or on the edge. Azure provides this consistent platform approach, giving you the flexibility to adopt cloud on your terms, no matter where you might be in the cloud journey. Erin, let's talk more about how this all comes together.
Sanofi, who you heard from earlier, is a great example. As a global pharmaceutical company, Sanofi must follow stringent compliance, cybersecurity, and quality control requirements, so they keep their data and applications on premises. They adopted a hybrid cloud strategy, which would allow them to benefit from cloud-specific advantages like speed, agility, and scale, while retaining on-premises control. Sanofi and Microsoft partner Mobiz have built a digital transformation plan that includes migrating more than 15,000 servers and 1,800 applications over the next few years. Now, with Azure, Sanofi employees are working faster and more efficiently, which means faster time to market to bring life-saving medicines to patients. Meeting you where you are so you can blend your own enterprise and operational edge investments with Azure's global infrastructure to leverage the best that Azure has to offer you on your own terms starts with our global infrastructure. We're constantly growing Azure by investing in data centers, networking, and cloud services. We now have more than 200 physical data centers arranged in 60-plus regions, more than AWS and GCP combined, and linked by one of the largest interconnected networks on the planet. With this connectivity, we're providing unprecedented scalability, low latency, and high availability so you can meet data residency and compliance requirements.
We hear loud and clear, you need and want the cloud ecosystem to be globally available, but also to be simple, flexible, and secure so you can focus on delivering maximum business value. And that's the role Azure plays, especially with solutions like Azure Arc, which brings the value of the cloud to any infrastructure and any workflow from cloud to edge.
That's right. This is why we built Azure Arc, a bridge that extends the Azure platform so you can build cloud-native applications and services with the flexibility to run them across your existing data centers, edge, and multi-cloud environments. For example, Wells Fargo needed to streamline a scalable compute platform between their on-premises data centers and public cloud environments. As a core fundamental principle of the strategy, with Azure Arc, they're extending Azure Kubernetes Service, or AKS, to their own data centers to get that same fully managed cloud-native Kubernetes experience. This gives them the flexibility to scale wherever they need. Now, Wells Fargo's developers are now able to run their containerized applications right next to the data to achieve latency and connectivity requirements while still leveraging their existing Kubernetes skills and tools. For the bank, they can count on the flexibility to adapt to ever-changing regulations and compliance requirements by running AKS wherever it's needed, regardless of where the app actually runs. This helps them bring new products and services to market faster and delight customers.
That's a fantastic story. It really shows how Azure Arc enables our customers to do more with their existing infrastructure investments and innovate at the same time.
IT often needs to use the same developer tools and cloud-native technologies running on Azure to create and manage applications anywhere. That's where Azure Arc can help. We know that data is your most strategic and valuable asset, and innovation happens when your data is connected and managed in a cohesive manner. Azure Arc is built to help you harness continuous insights from your data in different environments, bringing agility to your business. As these applications and data platforms are being built across locations, the attack surface is broader, and there's an increased potential for security risks. Azure Arc has the same security and governance tools for cloud-based threat detection, response, and security analytics across all applications. We know companies are committed to innovating faster while being mindful of costs in these uncertain times. That's why we're expanding Azure Hybrid Benefit to include AKS, so you can deploy AKS on Windows Server or Azure Stack HCI at no additional cost in your own data centers or edge environments. We're also bringing new hybrid deployment options to AKS on Windows devices and Windows IoT enabled by Azure Arc to allow more flexibility in your cloud strategy.
So many great updates today to help organizations stay agile and optimize. Thanks, Erin.
Absolutely. Thank you, Kathleen, and all of you for tuning in. Enjoy the rest of Microsoft Ignite.
I hope you're leaving this session with a better understanding of the breadth and depth of Microsoft Cloud and the latest Azure updates, all designed to help you get the most value from your cloud investments. We recognize that everyone is in a different place on their cloud journey. Some of you are just getting started with migration. For you, we have pricing benefits, offers, and helpful resources to help you achieve cost savings while adopting and operating in Azure. All of this helps you reduce the cost to run your Azure workloads compared to pay-as-you-go rates. A great example of this is the new Azure Savings Plan for Compute, an easy and flexible way to save up to 65% on compute services. You can also use our guidance and frameworks to ensure you're following best practices for cost optimization through every step of the cloud journey. Some of you have been on this path for years, and now you need to optimize what you've already invested in. Other existing Azure tools help you do this. Things like Microsoft Cost Management to help you better manage and understand your cloud spend to identify opportunities for workload optimization. And Azure Advisor, which provides personalized best practices for you to optimize your workloads. Wherever you are in that cloud journey, we're here to help, so every organization can reinvest these cost savings to help build resiliency, enhance security, and keep innovating through cloud-native technologies. There's a great breakout session this week where you can learn more about how Azure can help you do more with less. And I encourage all of you to check it out. You should also check out the Into Focus and other breakout sessions to get even deeper into all of the topics and announcements we covered here. Throughout the event, you can also connect with experts who can help you pull it all together for your business. Thanks to everyone who tuned in today from your home offices or gathered together around the world. Enjoy the rest of Ignite.